Good evening everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are going to discuss the brand new adventure number 7 I believe, called the Sirens Prize. So we're going to have a quick discussion about what we think about it and anything we think could be improved throughout the adventure. So I'm going to let the team take the floor and then I will input where I can. Probably should say, actually, I have Andy next to me tonight, I have Donka down at the bottom, and I have Fallout underneath my square for the evening. Take it away.
To even begin. It's nice to have actually a longer adventure, to be honest. It's nice that you actually have to go around the map instead of being stuck in one place, I think, really. But, bit long-winded, but it was a nice one, to be honest. Nice for us to try and end it all, I think, or possibly end it all.
But we know it's not the end.
Yeah, well,
I think for me, the only bit that annoyed me about it was finding all the tablet pieces, because they were all very discreetly hidden. Yeah. And it took a little while to work out where they all were.
True.
Yeah.
What?
And if you are and if you're actually wanting to read the one that you freaking have to swim underwater, it doesn't give you a lot of time to actually read the tablets before you start drowning.
Yeah. Fallout, what were you going to say?
I mean, what Andy said about length was true, but I also thought it might have been a bit too long to a degree, because there were no checkpoints involved. So, you couldn't do one. You couldn't do one, then the other, then the other. Obviously, I'm just saying the other because I don't want to spoil it for people. But I think it could have done with checkpoints. So you didn't lose your progress on it.
Yeah.
Because let's say you decided to do. Let's say you did one, you got interrupted, there was a bit toxic, and then you had to hop server, then you had to do another one, then you had to hop server because again, you bumped into another semi toxic crew. You'd have to jump 3 times, but to do it all on one server to get the completion, you're going to have to do all 3 in record time. I mean, yeah, I suppose you could have not done the tablets on the quick run through, because on the time that you have the speeding through it, but it would have been, annoying for you if you had to, redo it again because you had to redo it all. If you know what I mean.
Go on, Donka.
Yeah, or I think what most people also maybe done is, I know we did it as well, is scuttle the ship when you dive to prevent other players from actually seeing that you are there. Yeah. Which is not always an ideal way to do the stuff.
I was going to say, the way we did it, we were quite lucky because obviously we were hiding our ship by scuttling. But it does make you wonder, people that haven't scuttled their ships, how many people have sank while they've been doing it.
Yeah,
true. I mean, because from a personal point of view, if you didn't have someone there who already hasn't done it, let's say I was on the crew and you guys hadn't done it, I could have stayed with the ship babysitting it all the time. But then, am I going to be a good lookout for you? Am I going to, this ship's getting close, that ship's getting close, or are we going to go down and, like what we did, and do it? It's one of the things, and it was long enough to be a tall tale, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it was a long slog.
It almost felt like
had all the travelling, but it's nice from my point of view to have a bit more meat on the bone. For all the relevant criticisms are there by me, it was nice.
Compared to the last one, definitely, because the last one was far too short in my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
But it does make us wonder how long the next one's going to be.
True.
Like, we don't know how long. The next one could be double the length of this one. Like, it's unlikely to be the case, but we don't know what the next one's going to involve. And whether there'll be one after that is also another question.
I suppose another criticism was it was all localised in one area of the map, if you know what I mean. It could have been a bit more spread out, so you had to do one in each zone.
You did have to go, but you did have to go to 3 different shrines, which technically weren't all in one area of the map.
Well, they were kind of, weren't they? You had, you had you had that one there, and that one there, and they were all right next. They were all right next to each other in a corner of the map. So they were all clustered in close proximity to each other, which is my biggest criticism. Because if there was one, higher up, so obviously I don't want to mention the ones that they are, just in case, as I said, and one in the wilds, it might have been a bit less daunting leaving your ship, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but
it took us what 4 or 5 attempts to get the right outpost to start the adventure. So
yeah, that's the other problem. It depends what outpost you spawn at right at the beginning. But I did like how you could then. Was it this one you could sell stuff at the end? I can't remember actually.
Well, we stored all the stuff in the mermaids, didn't we? And collected it out of the end.
Oh, yeah. So we picked up bits and bobs, stirred them all in the mermaids, and then did a collection.
Yeah, we only got grade 2 because obviously we'd already picked it up and we've already handled it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if we'd have
not scuttled and things, we might have hit 5.
Not scuttled and kept the emissary up, but that's the risk you run because people know that we're collecting the loot, and if there's any reapers floating on, they're going to just.
Well, they're going to go, ooh, free ship.
Well, they know where all the blinking resource. Well, they know where everyone was going to be on that weekend, and where most of the ships are currently. They're doing that end of the map, and they're all doing those kind of things. So Reaper 5 jumps in, they come along, steal your supplies, probably booby trap your boat. Yeah, I know. I was guilty of it when the shrines first came out, but yeah.
So do we think for the next adventure, the advice is to do it right at the beginning, right in the middle, or right towards the end?
I'd say probably mid to end.
Yeah.
So those people rushed it at the start trying to get everything done, and the servers were wacky trying to get it done. They were really janky, personally.
Well, and also, I think on one of our attempts, there was already a ship at one of the shrines. Yeah. Something we found. But I would say that if you get it done at the beginning, you're less likely to run into people that are going to just PvP you. So I suppose... Go on, Fallout.
Cool. No, go on. Finish what you
I was just going to say, so I suppose it's probably better to just do it right at the start, get it over and done with, and then if you fail it the first time round, you can always have another opportunity a bit later on.
This is the problem with a lot of the adventures. Because if you wanted to camp or you wanted to PvP, generally speaking, if you've let's say these idiots log on and they do the adventure first thing, they know exactly which islands to camp, they know exactly what to do. That's always a risk when you're doing adventures like this, and you kind of wish that you spoke to Lorena, you'd tell her you go through a gate and you could do this unhindered. But that's the magic of Sea of Thieves, is the encounters with the other players. And yeah, you could say leave it till later, but you want to do it as soon as you can, because generally speaking, the community is aware what people are doing, and the sooner you do it, the less likely you're going to get bothered. Because if you try to do it now, what are most people going to say? Oh, you should have done it sooner. Why didn't you do it in the first 3 days? You always get a grace period of, well, I would generally say when it comes out to about the Tuesday, where most people just inspect your ship first to see if you are doing the new adventure. But it can't be guaranteed upon though, because just one of them things. The later you leave it, the more likely people aren't going to believe that you're doing it, because you should have done that already. It's been out a week.
Yeah.
5 days a week. They're gonna speak with cannons, which is the international language in Europe. Cannons.
Yeah. Speak with cannons. Hi, friend. Bang, 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 bang. Bye, ship.
Yeah, but basically, yeah. And I mean, it's not so bad when I don't know. I watch a lot of the other streamers, and it's not so bad when you're in America, and it's not so bad when you're in Australia, so to speak, because they all generally speak the same language, if you know what I mean. They're all brought up to understand American or English or whatever, or Australian, because they all have that commonality. But if you look at Europe, there's 80, 90 different languages. And that's the biggest problem in Europe. They're the spiciest servers because there's always a language barrier, and some people don't check the language barrier.
Well, and you can meet some people that don't speak the same language as you, and then you're like, "Oh, they don't know what I'm saying, and I don't know what they're saying."
Exactly.
Yeah, the speech to
speech to text doesn't always help.
Oh, no. Even English to English, we try and read it, and it does not come out as well it should be either.
No, very true. Very true. So if there was one thing about the new adventure we'd change, what would it be? In your own personal opinions.
I think me personally, where you start it off from, I don't think it should be just set to one island. Because, like, when me and you were just up came out, when we were just sailing around, we went there to pick up supplies, and that random ship was apparently doing it, kegged us for no reason.
Yeah.
If it's on one island, people like that are just gonna camp the island and pin you down. If it's just as I used to go to the nearest island to talk to Belle or whoever it is for the next one, it doesn't matter where you spawn. If you've got to go to one place, but you know people that's going to camp the island and destroy you before you can even touch it, so it's 6-1/2 doesn't.
But then I suppose if they couldn't designate it to one island, you'd have the issue of, well, what island are we meant to be going to? So I can see your point in some senses, but at the same time, it would make it harder if you didn't have a pointed island to go to. Yeah, but there's
Go on, Donker.
Yeah, that would be then because generally when you start an adventure, you speak to Lorena at the tab.
Yeah.
And she will then, that's where they randomize it. So you get your piece of parchment, they randomize which island Belle spawns at, and that piece of parchment, how you go there.
Yep.
That's been one of the early adventures. You could talk to her no matter which outpost you started at. I can't even think it was the second or third one. It'll take you to islands near that outpost for you to start it off. To me, that makes more sense than just going like we did with this one to one of the most stupidest islands there is in the game.
Yeah.
But that's me.
So what would you change, Donker? I don't know if we got clarification there. What would you change about the adventure?
Oh. Not much like it. This one was a bit easier to do than most of the other ones, but just kind of protecting the players that does it from griefers in a way, either by randomizing the island or letting you kind of do your own instance of the map when you start the adventure, so there's nobody else there to bother you.
So a separate server similar to the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although the last one was.
Yeah, we don't need to go into detail. That was a lot of PvP in that one, yeah. So.
I understand what you're all saying, but the issue is there was always going to do it on a big island.
Yeah.
And no matter how you read it, there was always going to pick a big island to do it in. At least with Plunder.
Yeah.
I'll put it out there. At least with Plunder or Plunder Valley, it's an island where multiple things happen. You've got Glitterbeard. It's a popular island for Athena in the area, and at least if it is a fixed island in a fixed location, for like you get the griefers, as Andy quite rightly says, and I said, if it's localized around a certain point, you will generally find most people will, figure out that's the adventure island, what they're doing, and they should, hopefully, check out the relevant ship first and see what they're doing. It's not always guaranteed, like you say, but you would hope that and pray that they, come out and investigate what you're actually doing rather than spoiling it and getting in your way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think from my point of view, the only thing I would change is some of the tablet locations, because some of them were very, very, very tucked in. And if you weren't looking very well, you could miss them really easily.
Well, that is true. They at least made them glow a little bit, so it is a bit easier to spot if you're looking for them. But I think when I did it, the one tablet, I think I ran by it 4 times before seeing it.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else anybody would like to add about the new adventure this evening?
Don't think so, not from my end. I think I've pretty much covered it for mine.
Donker, nothing to add?
Nothing to add, no.
Fallout, anything to add?
Oh, the ending was spectacular. The final graphic, and I've seen a couple of them. I witnessed one today, but that final graphic at the end of Plunder doing what he does, it's absolutely beautiful. Thank Ray for having it there, because you know what people are doing if that's the case, if you know what I mean,
Yeah. Well, I believe that concludes this podcast. The next one will be coming up very, very soon. Can't remember what the topic is off the top of my head, but stay tuned for that. And we hope you have a wonderful evening after watching this podcast, if it's during the evening. If it's during the day, then have a good day. And we will see you all very soon. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you all soon. Bye for now.